The Vexor had conquered 42 worlds. They had never lost. Not once. Their soldiers were 7 feet tall, covered in natural armor, and carried weapons that could melt steel. They did not fear anything. They had not feared anything for 1,000 years. That was why they chose Earth. Their scouts had studied the planet for months. The humans had primitive technology. Slow ships. Weak guns. No energy shields. No plasma cannons. No teleportation. The Vexor commander, a veteran named Zorak, laughed when he read the report. "These creatures still use fire," he said. "Fire. We stopped using fire 10,000 years ago. This will take one day." He was wrong. It took less than that, but not for the reason he thought. The invasion began at dawn. 50 Vexor warships descended through Earth's atmosphere. They chose a small farming town called Green Valley. It seemed safe, quiet, easy. No military bases, no soldiers, just fields and barns and old tractors. Zorak wanted to capture a few humans for study. Then they would move on to the cities. The ships landed in a wheat field. The crops crushed under their metal feet. The Vexor soldiers marched out in perfect rows. Their armor gleamed. Their weapons hummed. They looked like death walking. The humans of Green Valley saw them. They ran. Some hid in basements. Some drove away in trucks. Some just stood frozen, too scared to move. Zorak watched through his helmet display. He felt pleased. "Fear," he said to his officers. "That is the first step to surrender." Then something unexpected happened. A human walked out of a red barn. He was old. His face was wrinkled. His hands were dirty. He wore overalls and a straw hat. He was not holding a weapon. He was not wearing armor. He was not running. He just walked. Slowly. Calmly. Straight toward the Vexor army. Zorak raised his hand. His soldiers aimed their weapons. "Stop," Zorak ordered. "Let him come. I want to see what he does." The old man stopped 50 meters from the front line. He looked at the Vexor. He looked at their armor, their weapons, their ships. He did not seem scared. He just seemed tired, like he had seen too many things in his long life. Behind him, something moved. A large animal stepped out of the barn. It was 4 feet tall. It had thick brown and black fur. Its teeth were white and sharp. Its eyes were dark and focused. It walked to the old man's side and sat down. Its tongue hung out. Its tail wagged. The Vexor scanners went crazy. "Unknown creature," a soldier shouted. "High muscle density. Sharp teeth. Fast reflexes. Aggression levels rising." Zorak looked at his display. The numbers were alarming. The creature's bite force was off the charts. Its speed was faster than any Vexor soldier. Its loyalty readings were strange. The scanner showed that the creature was not afraid. It was not hungry. It was not angry. It was protective. The creature was scanning the Vexor soldiers and marking them as threats. To the old man. Zorak stepped back. "What is that thing?" he asked. The old man smiled. He reached down and scratched the creature behind its ears. The creature leaned into his hand. Its tail wagged harder. "This is Bruce," the old man said. "He's my dog." The Vexor did not understand the word dog. Their language had no translation for it. Their species had evolved alone. They had no pets. No livestock. No domesticated animals. The very idea of a wild predator living peacefully with a weaker species was impossible to them. "Dog," Zorak repeated. "Is that a weapon?" The old man laughed. "No, son. Bruce is a herding dog. He moves sheep around. Keeps them safe. He's not a weapon. He's family." The Vexor scanners beeped again. New data. The creature called Bruce was not alone. Scanners showed thousands of similar creatures within 100 kilometers. Millions across the planet. All of them loyal to humans. All of them physically dangerous. All of them ready to protect. Zorak's blood ran cold. "How many of these dogs do you have?" he asked. The old man scratched his chin. "Well, let me think. There are about 500 million dogs on Earth. Give or take." Zorak felt something he had not felt in 1,000 years. Fear. 500 million. Each one with sharp teeth. Fast reflexes. Loyalty to humans. The Vexor had conquered 42 worlds. They had faced armies. They had faced warships. They had faced weapons that could crack planets. But they had never faced a planet where every civilian was protected by millions of predators that volunteered to die for them. Bruce barked. It was a loud, deep sound. The Vexor soldiers flinched. One of them dropped his weapon. Another screamed. Zorak did not blame them. The scanner was showing that Bruce's bark was a warning. A threat. A promise. The old man tugged on the leash. Hush now, Bruce. They're just visitors. Bruce sat down. But his eyes never left the Vexor. He was watching, waiting, ready. Zorak made a decision. He raised his hand. All units, he said, fall back to the ships. We are leaving. His officers stared at him. Commander? We have not even fought yet. Zorak looked at the old man. At Bruce. At the millions of creatures his scanners had detected. We are not fighting, he said. We are running. Tell the fleet. Earth is not safe. Not because of the humans. Because of what follows them. The Vexor retreated. Their ships lifted off within the hour. They left Green Valley untouched. They left Earth entirely. The invasion had lasted less than 4 hours. The old man watched them go. He looked down at Bruce. Good boy, he said. Bruce wagged his tail. In orbit, Zorak wrote his report. He sent it to Vexor High Command. It said, do not invade Earth. The humans are primitive. Their weapons are weak. But their pets are monsters. And there are 500 million of them. I repeat, do not invade Earth. High Command read the report. They canceled the invasion. Earth was safe. Not because of human weapons. Because of human love. And because no alien wanted to fight a species that had turned wolves into friends. Bruce never knew he had saved the planet. He just knew that his human was safe. That was enough. That was always enough. The Vexor soldiers did not move. They stood in the wheat field, weapons raised, waiting for orders. Commander Zorak stepped forward. His armor was black and silver. His helmet hid his face. But his voice was loud and clear. You, old human. What is that creature? The old farmer looked down at his dog. Bruce sat calmly, tongue out, tail wagging. He seemed happy. Like this was just another morning on the farm. This is Bruce, the farmer said. He's my dog. Zorak's translator worked hard. Dog. The word did not exist in Vexor language. The closest translation was small predator that follows humans. That made no sense. Why would humans keep a predator? What does this dog do? Zorak asked. The farmer scratched Bruce behind the ears. He heard sheep. Keeps them safe. Barks at strangers. That sort of thing. Zorak scanned the word sheep. Livestock. Prey animals. The dog was a predator that protected prey. That was even more confusing. Why would a predator protect food instead of eating it? You are lying, Zorak said. This creature has teeth. Muscles. Speed. It is a weapon. You have genetically engineered it for war. The farmer laughed. It was a deep, warm laugh. Genetically engineered? No, son. Bruce is just a German shepherd. His grandparents were herding dogs too. We've been breeding them for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Zorak's mind raced. The humans had been living with these creatures for thousands of years. They had shaped them, trained them, turned them from wild wolves into loyal companions. That was not primitive. That was terrifying. Bruce barked. It was a sharp, loud sound. The Vexor soldiers flinched. One soldier stepped back. Another raised his weapon. Zorak held up his hand. Do not fire, he ordered. Scan it again. The scanner beeped. Data flooded Zorak's display. Bite force, 238 pounds per square inch. Running speed, 30 miles per hour. Hearing, 4 times better than humans. Smell, 10,000 times better than humans. Loyalty rating maximum. Maximum. The scanner had never shown maximum loyalty before. Not in 42 conquered worlds. Not ever. Zorak looked at the old farmer. How many of these dogs do you have on this planet? The farmer scratched his chin. He looked up at the sky thinking, well, let me see. There are about 500 million dogs on Earth. Give or take a few million. 500 million. Zorak's legs felt weak. 500 million predators. Each one with sharp teeth. Fast speed. Perfect hearing. Perfect smell. And maximum loyalty to humans. He looked at his own soldiers. There were only 500 of them in this landing party. Even if all 50 ships carried soldiers, the invasion force was only 50,000. Against 500 million dogs. Plus the humans. Plus whatever other creatures the humans had tamed. Zorak did the math. It was not good. What other creatures do you have? He asked. His voice was quieter now. Less confident. The farmer smiled. Oh, we have cats. About 600 million of those. They're smaller. But they're fast. Good hunters. And they don't really listen to anyone. They just do what they want. Cats. Smaller predators that did not listen. That was somehow worse. We have horses too, the farmer continued. Big ones. About 60 million. They weigh 1,000 pounds each. They can kick through wood. Some of them let us ride them. Ride them. The humans rode predators. Zorak felt sick. And cows, the farmer said. About 1 billion cows. They're mostly peaceful. But they're huge. If they get scared, they can run through walls. 1 billion. Zorak stopped listening. His mind was stuck on the number. 500 million dogs. 600 million cats. 60 million horses. 1 billion cows. And that was just the ones the farmer could name. There were pigs, goats, rabbits, birds, fish. The list went on and on. The humans lived surrounded by creatures that could kill them. And instead of being afraid, they had made friends with them. They had turned predators into protectors, prey into partners. The Vexer had never seen anything like it. Bruce barked again. This time he stepped forward. His hackles were up. His teeth were showing. He was not playing anymore. He was warning. Zorak stepped back. All units, he said, return to the ships. Immediately. His officers looked confused. Commander? Now, Zorak snapped. We are leaving. The Vexer soldiers ran. They did not march. They did not walk. They ran. Their armor clanked. Their weapons bounced. They pushed each other to get to the ships first. Bruce chased them for 20 meters, barking the whole way. Then he stopped and looked back at the farmer, tail wagging. The farmer shook his head. Good boy, Bruce. That's enough. Bruce sat down. He looked proud. The last Vexer ship lifted off within 20 minutes. The invasion of Earth had lasted less than 4 hours. Not because of human weapons. Not because of human soldiers. Because of a German shepherd named Bruce who wanted to protect his human. In orbit, Commander Zorak sat in his command chair. His hands were shaking. He opened a channel to Vexer High Command. The invasion is cancelled, he said. Earth is not safe. The humans are primitive. Their weapons are weak. But they have 500 million predators that follow their every command. I have seen one of them. It is called a dog. It barks. It bites. It loves humans. I cannot fight that. No one can fight that. Do not come here. I repeat. Do not come here. High Command did not argue. They had seen the scanner data. They cancelled the invasion. They marked Earth as do not approach on all star charts. Bruce never knew he had saved the planet. He just knew that the strange metal creatures had left. His human was safe. That was enough. He lay down in the wheat field, put his head on his paws, and went to sleep. The farmer, Otis, sat down next to him. He patted Bruce's back. Good boy, he said again. And somewhere in the galaxy, 1,000 alien generals read Zorak's report. They crossed Earth off their invasion lists. Not because of human strength. Because of human friendship. And because no one wants to fight a species that has 500 million wolves on leashes. The evacuation ships were an hour away. Commander Zorak stood in the wheat field waiting. His soldiers had already loaded onto the landing craft. But Zorak stayed. He had questions. Too many questions. He looked at the old farmer, Otis, and at the dog, Bruce. Then he looked at the red barn behind them. What else is in there? Zorak asked. Otis scratched his beard. You sure you want to know? No, Zorak said. But I need to. For my report. Otis shrugged. All right. Come on. He walked toward the barn. Bruce followed. Zorak hesitated. Then he followed too. His hand rested on his weapon. Just in case. The barn was dark and smelled of hay and animals. Zorak's helmet lights flicked on. He saw eyes. Dozens of eyes. Watching him from the shadows. This is Mittens, Otis said, pointing to a small furry creature sitting on a hay bale. It was gray and white. It had sharp claws and bright green eyes. It was cleaning its paw. Zorak scanned it. Feline. Domestic cat. Weight, 8 pounds. Claws retractable. Hunting ability, high. Kills birds, rodents, insects. Loyalty low. Does not obey commands. Does what it wants. Zorak stared at the scan. It does not obey. Then why do you keep it? Otis laughed. Mittens keeps the mice away. And she's soft. Good for petting. Petting. The Vexer had no word for that either. Mittens looked at Zorak. She hissed. Then she jumped down from the hay bale and walked away. She did not run. She just walked. Like she owned the barn. Like she owned the planet. Zorak made a note. Cats, small predators. No loyalty. Humans keep them anyway. Otis walked deeper into the barn. Over here is Daisy. Daisy was huge. 4 legs. Long face. Big brown eyes. She weighed over 1,000 pounds. Zorak's scanner beeped wildly. Equine. Horse. Weight, 1,200 pounds. Speed, 35 miles per hour. Kick force, sufficient to break metal. Diet, grass. Temperament, gentle and less scared. Allows humans to ride it. Zorak read the scan 3 times. You ride this creature? It lets you sit on its back. Otis nodded. Sure. Daisy loves it. Don't you, girl? Daisy bobbed her head. She walked over to Otis and nudged his shoulder with her nose. Otis patted her neck. Zorak felt dizzy. 1,000-pound creature that could kick through metal. And it let humans sit on it. Willingly. Are there more? Zorak asked. His voice was barely a whisper. Otis smiled. Oh yes. There are cows. Big ones. About 1 billion of them. They give us milk. And pigs. They're smart. Smarter than dogs, some say. And llamas. They spit. And rabbits. Rabbits, Zorak repeated. He scanned the word. Small, fast, breed quickly. Otis's smile grew wider. They breed fast. Very fast. You leave 2 rabbits alone for a year, you have 200. Zorak did the math. 200 rabbits from 2. In 1 year. He thought about what 1 million rabbits could do. He stopped thinking about it. Outside the barn, a noise started. Hissing. Loud. Angry. Zorak turned. A flock of white birds was running toward him. They had long necks and orange beaks. Their wings were spread. They looked furious. Otis laughed. Oh, that's just the geese. They're protective. Don't run. They'll chase you. Zorak did not run. He stood perfectly still. The geese stopped a few feet away. They hissed at him. Then they turned and walked away, like they had decided he was not worth the trouble. Zorak's scanner identified them. Geese. Waterfowl. Highly territorial. Will chase anything that moves. No fear. No loyalty. Just aggression. He looked at Otis. Why do you keep these creatures? They hiss at you. They do not obey. They are not friendly. Otis shrugged. They make good guard animals. And their eggs are tasty. Tasty. The humans ate their enemies. Or their friends. Zorak could not tell the difference anymore. They walked back outside. The evacuation ships were landing. Zorak had one last question. Old human. How are you not afraid? You live surrounded by creatures that could kill you. Dogs that bite. Cats that scratch. Horses that kick. Geese that hiss. Cows that weigh a ton. How do you survive? Otis looked at Bruce. Bruce wagged his tail. He looked at the barn where Mittens was probably hunting mice. He looked at the field where Daisy was eating grass. We tamed them, Otis said. Thousands of years ago. We didn't fight them. We didn't run from them. We just lived with them. Fed them. Cared for them. And after a while, they stopped being enemies. They became friends. That's what humans do. We make friends. Even with things that are bigger and stronger and sharper than us. Especially with those things. Zorak stood in silence. He thought about his own species. The Vexer had conquered 42 worlds. They had never made a friend. They had never tamed a single creature. They had only killed and moved on. He pulled out his personal log. He wrote one sentence. He would remember it forever. Humans are not the apex predators on their planet because they are strong. They are the apex predators because everything else decided to join them. He closed the log. He looked at Otis. He looked at Bruce. He looked at the barn full of strange, terrifying, wonderful creatures. Thank you, Zorak said. I understand now. We cannot conquer you. Not because you are powerful. Because you are kind. And kindness is a kind of power we do not have. He walked to the evacuation ship. He did not look back. He did not need to. He would never forget. The ships lifted off. Earth was safe. Not because of weapons. Because of a farmer who made friends with monsters. And because those monsters decided to love him back. Bruce wagged his tail. Otis patted his head. Good boy, Otis said. Good boy. The evacuation ships descended through the clouds. 5 of them. Big. Gray. Loud. They landed in the wheat field, crushing more crops. Commander Zorak was relieved. He had learned enough about Earth. He had seen the dog, the cat, the horse, the geese. He did not want to see anything else. His soldiers were already boarding. They moved quickly. Their armor clanked. Their weapons were lowered. They did not look back at the farmhouse or the barn or the old farmer. They just wanted to leave. Otis stood with Bruce by the fence. He watched the Vexer load onto their ships. He looked tired. It had been a long day. Well, Bruce, he said. Looks like they're leaving. Bruce wagged his tail. He was happy. His human was safe. That was all that mattered. Then the farmhouse door opened. A small creature ran out. It was tiny, smaller than a cat, smaller than a rabbit. It had big eyes, big ears, and a tiny body. It weighed maybe 4 pounds. It had almost no teeth. Its legs were short. Its tail was a small blur. It was yapping. Loud. High-pitched. Non-stop. "Princess!" Otis shouted. "Get back here!" Princess did not listen. Princess never listened. She was a chihuahua. She weighed 4 pounds. She had 3 teeth. She was afraid of nothing. Absolutely nothing. She ran straight toward the Vexor soldiers. Zorak saw her. His scanner activated automatically. Unknown creature. Small predator. Weight, 4 pounds. Bite force, minimal. Teeth, 3. Aggression, maximum. Fear, none. Loyalty, maximum. Warning, do not approach. Zorak read the scan. His blood ran cold. Maximum aggression. No fear. 3 teeth. That did not matter. The numbers were wrong. A creature this small should not have maximum aggression. It should not have no fear. It should be hiding. Running. Crying. Princess was not hiding. She was running toward 50 armed alien soldiers. Yapping. Snapping. Shaking with rage. The Vexor soldiers saw her. They had seen Bruce. They knew what dogs could do. They assumed Princess was smaller, faster, and more dangerous. They did not know she had 3 teeth. They did not know she weighed 4 pounds. They only knew the scanner said, maximum aggression. No fear. One soldier screamed. Then another. Then they all ran. 50 elite Vexor soldiers. 7 feet tall. Covered in armor. Carrying weapons that could melt steel. Running from a 4-pound chihuahua named Princess. Princess chased them. Her tiny legs moved faster than seemed possible. Her yapping never stopped. She sounded like a small demon. She sounded like death on 4 paws. The Vexor soldiers pushed each other to get to the ships. They climbed over each other. They dropped their weapons. One soldier tripped and fell. 2 others stepped on him. Princess nipped at his armor. Her 3 teeth did nothing. But the soldier screamed anyway. Zorak watched in horror. He wanted to stop them. He wanted to be calm. Professional. Commanding. But his legs were already moving. He was running too. He did not remember deciding to run. His body just did it. Princess chased them all the way to the main ship. She stopped at the ramp. She stood there, shaking, yapping, daring them to come back. None of them did. The ramp closed. The ships lifted off. Princess barked at the sky until the ships were tiny dots. Then she barked some more. Then she turned around and walked back to the farmhouse. Her tail was up. Her head was high. She looked very proud of herself. Otis stood by the fence with Bruce. He shook his head. "Princess," he called. "Get in the house." Princess ignored him. She walked to the porch, turned around 3 times, and lay down in a patch of sun. She closed her eyes. She was done for the day. In orbit, Commander Zorak sat in his command chair. His hands were still shaking. His soldiers were silent. Some were crying. Some were just staring at the wall. The ones who had been chased were not speaking at all. Zorak opened a channel to Vexor High Command. "I am filing an addendum to my previous report," he said. "The dogs on Earth are not all large. Some are very small. The small ones are worse. They never stop making noise. They have no fear. They will chase anything. I repeat, anything. Do not send soldiers to Earth. The small dogs will break them." He closed the channel. He leaned back in his chair. He closed his eyes. He could still hear the yapping. He would always hear the yapping. High Command received the report. They read it twice. They marked Earth as "do not approach under any circumstances." They added a special note. "Especially avoid the small ones." Back on Earth, Otis sat on his porch. Bruce lay at his feet. Princess slept in the sun. The wheat field was destroyed. The barn had holes in it. But the farm was still there. The humans were still there. The pets were still there. Otis looked down at Princess. She was twitching in her sleep. Probably dreaming about chasing aliens. "You know, Bruce," he said, "I think we just won a war." Bruce wagged his tail. He did not care about wars. He cared about dinner. Otis stood up. He walked inside. He filled Bruce's bowl. He filled Princess's bowl. He made himself a sandwich. The aliens were gone. The day was over. Life went on. The Vexor never returned. Not because they were afraid of human weapons. They were afraid of a 4-pound chihuahua with 3 teeth and no fear. And they were right to be afraid. Because Princess would have chased them again. She would have chased them to the ends of the galaxy. She would have never stopped yapping. She would have never given up. That is the thing about small dogs. They do not know they are small. They do not know they are weak. They only know that their human needs them. And that is enough. That is always enough. Princess opened one eye. She looked at Otis. She wagged her tail once. Then she went back to sleep. Earth was safe. Not because of armies. Because of love. Because of loyalty. Because of a tiny, loud, fearless creature who thought she was a monster. And maybe she was. Maybe the best monsters are the small ones. The ones who never stop trying. The ones who never give up. The ones who chase aliens across wheat fields and never look back. That is humanity. That is HFY. That is why the galaxy learned to fear the small things. Because the small things fight the hardest. And they never, ever stop. Months passed. The Vexor did not return. No invasion. No attacks. No ships in the sky. Earth went back to normal. Farmers farmed. Dogs barked. Cats slept in sunbeams. Life continued. Then one day, a single Vexor ship appeared. It did not have weapons. It did not have soldiers. It had one passenger. A diplomat. His name was Thessal. He was not a warrior. He was a negotiator. His job was to fix the mistakes that warriors made. Thessal landed in the same wheat field. He stepped out of his ship. He wore no armor. He carried no weapon. He just walked. Slowly. Carefully. Toward the red barn. Otis was sitting on his porch. Bruce was at his feet. Princess was chasing a butterfly. The old man stood up when he saw the alien. Back again? Otis called. Thessal stopped at the fence. He was tall like all Vexor. But his posture was different. He was not standing like a soldier. He was standing like someone who wanted to ask a question. I am here to negotiate a peace treaty, Thessal said. My people do not understand yours. We have conquered 42 worlds. We have never run from a battle. Your planet made us run. We need to know why. Otis nodded. Fair enough. Come sit. He waved Thessal onto the porch. The alien diplomat climbed over the fence. He walked slowly. His eyes kept moving. Looking for dogs. Looking for small ones. Relax, Otis said. Bruce won't bite. Princess is asleep. Thessal sat on the porch steps. Bruce walked over to him. The alien froze. Bruce sniffed his hand. Then he sat down and looked up at Thessal with big brown eyes. This is the war beast? Thessal asked. The one your commander wrote about? Otis laughed. Bruce? No. Bruce is a herding dog. He moves sheep. He's never hurt anyone in his life. Well, except that one time he chased a raccoon. But the raccoon was fine. Thessal was confused. But Commander Zorak's report said large predator. High muscle density, sharp teeth. Oh, Bruce has all that, Otis said. He just doesn't use it on friends. Thessal looked at Bruce. Bruce wagged his tail. The alien reached out. Slowly. His hand shook. He touched Bruce's head. Bruce licked his hand. Thessal pulled back. Then he reached out again. Bruce licked him again. His tail wagged faster. It is friendly, Thessal said. He sounded surprised. Shocked. Confused. Otis nodded. That's what dogs do. They're friendly. That's why we keep them. Not for fighting. For friendship. Thessal sat in silence. He petted Bruce. Bruce leaned into his hand. The alien diplomat had never touched a creature from another species before. Vexor did not touch. Vexor did not befriend. Vexor conquered. What is the purpose of this? Thessal asked. Why waste resources on a creature that does not work? That does not fight? That does not produce food? Otis thought for a moment. Because he makes me happy. Because when I come home, he's glad to see me. Because when I'm sad, he sits with me. Not everything has to have a purpose. Some things are just good. Thessal did not understand. But he wanted to. He kept petting Bruce. The small one, Thessal said. Princess. She chased my soldiers. She had no fear. Why? Otis smiled. Because she thought you were going to hurt me. She's small. She's not strong. But she loves me. And love makes you brave. Even when you're 4 pounds and have 3 teeth. Thessal pulled out his personal log. He wrote slowly. Carefully. He wanted to get the words right. The humans have turned predators into friends. They do not use weapons. They use love. They do not conquer. They befriend. We cannot conquer a species that befriends its enemies. That is not weakness. That is power beyond our understanding. He closed the log. He looked at Otis. He looked at Bruce. He looked at Princess, still sleeping in the sun. We will sign the peace treaty, Thessal said. My people will not return. Not because we are afraid of your weapons. Because we are confused by your hearts. We need time to understand. Maybe a long time. Otis stood up. He shook Thessal's hand. The alien flinched at first. Then he relaxed. You're welcome here anytime, Otis said. Bring friends. Bruce likes visitors. Thessal walked back to his ship. He stopped at the fence. He turned around. One more question. Why do you call them pets? The word does not translate. Otis scratched his beard. Because they're not family. They're not tools. They're not slaves. There's something in between. Something we don't have a perfect word for. So we just say pets. It means creatures we love for no reason. Thessal nodded. He walked to his ship. He climbed inside. The ramp closed. The ship lifted off. Bruce wagged his tail. The alien diplomat petted him again, one last time, through the window. Then the ship was gone. Otis sat back down on his porch. Bruce put his head on Otis's knee. Princess woke up, yawned, and went back to sleep. Somewhere in the galaxy, 1,000 invasion plans were cancelled. Not because of human weapons. Not because of human armies. Because of human love. And because no one wants to fight a species that has 500 million wolves on leashes. The Vexer went home. They told stories about Earth. About the old farmer. About the big dog who licked hands. About the small dog who chased armies. They did not understand. But they respected. And they never came back. Bruce wagged his tail. He did not know he had saved the planet. He did not know he had changed the galaxy. He just knew that his human was safe. That the sun was warm. That dinner would come soon. That was enough. That was always enough. And somewhere in a Vexer museum, a small display was built. It showed a picture of Bruce. A picture of Princess. A picture of an old farmer in overalls. The label said, "The creatures that defeated us." Not with teeth. With love. Millions of Vexer visited that display. They did not understand. But they felt something. Something warm. Something strange. Something that might, one day, grow into friendship. That is HFY. That is humanity. That is why the stars belong to us. Not because we are the strongest. Because we are the kindest. And kindness, in the end, is the only thing that lasts.